This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity.
everybody, welcome to Grimsforge Gaming. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry that we missed putting the CP in our Anthris build video. The video was kind of running long anyways, but here's a CP for our Anthris build. We are in Imperial City, CP Imperial City right now, and I'll show you what we've been running. So first thing, when you jump into the Apprentice, we have nothing there. When we jump over to the Atronach, we've got 61 points into Mastered Arms. So that puts us at 21% additional direct damage. So our Blast Bones, heavy attacks, those things are going to be considered direct damage. And then we've got 50 points into Physical Weapon Expert, so that way our heavy attacks and light attacks will hit a little harder. And actually we've got 9 points into Shattering Blows, which is just kind of a point dump for us. So that way when we do send up Blast Bones after a Sorcerer or somebody that's got shields, it's going to do a little bit of something. We've got 64 points into Mighty, so it gives us a nice 13% increased physical, poison, and disease damage. 35 points into Piercing for an extra 3,000 penetration. 51 points in a Precise Strike, so that way our critical damage is increased by 19%, but more importantly our critical healing is increased, and that's pretty important. So jumping over to the Steed, we've got 60 points into Spell Shield, 61 points into Ironclad for a nice 21% boost to our direct damage mitigation. A lot of the biggest attacks in the game are going to be considered direct damage. It'll really chunk off life, and so Ironclad is needed. I have nothing in Hardy, nothing in Elemental Defender, and I explain this every time I go over CP in case you haven't seen any of my other videos, but a lot of people will look at my resistances and they'll say, how in the heck are you pushing such high resistances? Here's how. I don't put any points in Hardy, I don't put any points in Elemental Defender. I always put points into the armor focus of whatever armor we're wearing. So if I'm wearing 5 medium or 5 light or 5 heavy, and I'll put points there. That'll give me an extra 4,400 resistances, physical resistance, and then by putting points into Spell Shield, I get an extra 4,400 resistance there. And now if on this particular build we're not a Nord, but if you were running a Nord, you'd also get the racial passive called Rugged, and that's another 4,000 spell and physical resistance. And so Nords could actually, by putting your CP like this, running Spell Shield and then the armor focus that you're running, you could have almost 8,000 additional resistances more than other classes, and just by doing that. And a lot of people might be like, well, you're not hitting the Unchained passive, and that's absolutely true. However, if you read this, when you break free, the cost of your next stamina ability used within 5 seconds is reduced by 80%. Usually that next stamina ability that you're going to expend is going to be a Vigor to get heals coming in, and I'm not really worried about saving myself 80% of that cost after I break free, and I'm not going to build towards that. And another thing too is, if you do the math, you put points into this and say it's going to save you 10% damage, physical damage mitigation, and let's say that you have a 10,000 physical damage ability coming in, 10% mitigation on that's going to save you 1,000 damage. I'd much rather actually put points into the armor focus for an extra 4,400 resistances towards physical damage, and so that's just the way it is. I like to push max resistances, and so anyways, this makes me different than a lot of people, and that's fine. Like we said, heavy armor focus, we got 60 points in here, and we got 43 points into quick recovery, so the healing we do receive is buffed by 10%. 23 points into Warlord, so it gives us saves us an extra 10% every time we break free, and that's nice. 64 points in Arcanist and 64 points in the Mooncalf, and so that gives us an extra 13% to our regen, our recoveries, and I think that's important because we're very active when we fight. When you watch the video, we're not just standing there holding block. We're actively just attacking and actively disrupting, and so that's important. I've got 58 points, sorry, into health recovery, so it increases our health recovery by 12%. You could actually dump more points in here if you want, and that'll just drive your health recovery up even higher. And I've got 61 points into Warlord, and that the times that we do block cast, almost everything on our back bar is block cast capable. When we are blocking, we're going to cut the cost of block by 21%. And when you look at the shield and sword and board passives as well, when we're block casting on our front bar, it mitigates a lot of blocking costs as well. And that is the CP. Everybody be safe out there, and sorry we missed the CP in our build video, but here it is. Be safe.